But nothing really happened. And I pronounced the benediction. And I'm walking down the aisle when this young man came to me and said, nothing has broken out tonight, but God is hovering over us. He's hovering over us midday. And He'll break through any moment. Well, I must be perfectly honest. I didn't feel anything. But you see, here was a man much nearer to God than I was. Oh, he knew the secrets. We're moving down the aisle and the congregation is moving out. They're all out now except this man and myself. He lifted his two hands and started to pray. God, you made a promise to pour water on the thirsty and floods upon the dry ground, and you're not doing it. And he prayed, and prayed again until he fell again onto the floor in a trance. He's lying there. I'm standing beside him for about 5 minutes, and then the door of the church opened. And the session clerk came in. Mr. Campbell, something wonderful has happened. Revival has broken out. Will you come to the door and see the crowd that's here? 11 o'clock, Matthew, 11 o'clock. And I went to the door, and there must have been a congregation of between 600 and 700 people gathered round the church. This dear man stood at the door and suggested that we might sing a psalm. He gave out Psalm 102, when Zion's bondage God turned back, as men that dreamed were we. Then filled with laughter was our mouth, our tongue with melody. And they sang, and they sang, and they sang. And in the midst of it I could hear the cry of the penitent. I could hear men crying to God for mercy. And I turned to the elder and said, I think we had better open the doors again and let them in. And within a matter of minutes the church was crowded at 11:45. Now, where did the people come from? How did they know that a meeting was in progress in the church? Well, I cannot tell you. But I know this, that from village and hamlet, the people came. Were you to ask some of them today, what was it that moved you? They couldn't tell you. Only that they were moved by a power that they could not explain, and the power was such as to give them to understand and see that they were hell-deserving sinners. And of course, the only place they could think of where they might find help was at the church. And here they were, between 600 and 700. There was a dance in progress that night in the parish. And while this young man was praying in the aisle, the power of God moved into that dance. And the young people, over 100 of them, fled from the dance as though fleeing from a plague. And they made for the church. And I endeavored to get up into the pulpit. I found the way blocked with young people who had been at the dance. When I went into the pulpit, I found a young woman, a graduate of Aberdeen University, who was at the dance. And she's lying on the floor of the pulpit crying, "Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me?" at work, and Peggy's vision, now actual and real. A church crowded with young people, as well as old. Well, that meeting continued until 4 o'clock in the morning. As I was leaving the church, a young man came to me. Oh, he's not a Christian, but he's a God-fearing young man, and told me this story. Mr. Campbell, there must be anything between 200 and 300 people at the police station. They're gathered there, and some are on their knees. Now, I can't understand this. Now, he wasn't in the church, you see. But here, a crowd of men and women from a neighboring village, 5 and 6 miles away, were so moved by God that they found themselves moving to the police station because the constable there was a God-fearing and well-saved man. And just next to the door, Peggy's cottage. They were there, and this young man begged of me to go along to the police station. And I went along, and I shall never, never forget what my ears heard and my eyes saw that morning. Young men were kneeling by the roadside, I think just now with a group of half a dozen. One of them under the influence of drink, and his old mother kneeling beside him and saying, "Oh, Willie, Willie, are you coming at last? Willie, Willie, are you coming at last?" And Willie today is the parish minister of Ulgin. And from the group of young men who sought the Lord that night, there are 9 in the ministry today. God moved. My dear people, that's revival. That's God at work. And I make bold to say in passing, that is the crying need of the Christian church in Canada today. Not this effort and that effort, on the basis of human endeavor, but a manifestation of God that moves sinners to cry for mercy before they go near a place of worship. My dear people, that was how it began then. That was how it began. And then it leapt over the bounds of the parish to neighboring parishes.